Hello, everyone. I've just done some praying, and I've had some good insights from God on how to tackle Opus Dei in terms of its relationship with the church. Okay, so I think one of the traps about Opus Dei and the church is that it seems to be accountable to the church. Okay, and so people, including me, have put a lot of energy into trying to change the church, trying to get the church to deal with Opus Dei. Got frustrated because on paper it seems like it should do. Okay. Of course, all these other cults, they don't have anybody above them. So you think, well, is there some hope that somebody above Opus Dei? Okay. But the reality is that that's not how it works. Okay. I want you to imagine a very impressive spider's web. Okay. And that's Opus Dei. Okay. The spider's web. And then the middle is a fly. Okay. And this fly has kind of got pride of place in the center of Opus Dei, okay? And that is the church, at least the church hierarchy, okay? The ones that have to deal with Opus Dei or end up doing it, you know. So they're their hierarchy, and so it gives you that idea that the church is completely trapped, ensnared in the center of the web of Opus Dei. Opus Dei is like saying, "Oh, look, we've got we're working in unity with the church. We're completely in line with it. You know, how wonderful. We want to raise up the church. Look how we've put our focus on the center here, the church and the Pope. You know, our job is to support that, support to be the backdrop, to be the all right. And so, but really, what they've done is they've completely immobilized, absolutely immobilized this fly. Okay, and obviously that fly can't do anything about the web. Okay, now let's imagine that someone on the outside, was struggling to get out or buzzing around and thinking, "Come on, fly, do something." We're like a bee, like a bee. Come on, fly. Look, it's your responsibility. You're at the center of this web. Okay, you need to be sorting it out. But we're a bee. I'm a bee. Much much bigger than the church. Okay, in the Pope or the hierarchy in the center there. Actually, there's nothing. There's nothing I can expect that fly to do to get itself free and to help me with my problems. Okay, my problems are tiny compared to this fly trapped in the center of the web. Okay, so so if that so if you realize that, if I have that sense of the power of Opus Dei over the church and how really nothing, you can't change anything, then and how you're actually in a much better position than the fly in the center. So just stop, yeah, just stop trying to don't expect anything of that fly, of that church, and just think differently. Think differently, okay? So how can you think differently, okay? Well, first of all, yeah, be a bee. Buzz around. Don't spend too much time in close to that web because that web's only going to get you annoyed and try and trap you and stick on the edges and whatever. There's nothing you can really do, really. And if you're enjoying your life as a bee, just in living your passions and your dreams, okay, well, look, the edges of that web are the people further away from the center of the church. And they're like the people who can see us on the outside enjoying being a bee, okay, and think, you know what? I see these people buzzing around outside and they seem to be enjoying, they're free and they don't seem to be massive sinners, or what's this church giving me really? What's this web giving me apart from like keeping me attached to all this like inner layers, and this fly in the center? What's it giving me? So maybe at some point the people, those on the edges, can start to break away and think, okay, let's break away, let's become our own insect, our own person, and weaken that web. That web becomes weaker from the outside. Okay, it becomes smaller from the outside. And in fact, you can see that in terms of the development of the Catholic Church in recent decades. It's shrinking. Okay, maybe in the centre it's as strong as ever, but it's smaller. the people on the edge, a lot of people on the edges have decided they've had enough of that web and they're just going to be a freebie, a freebie. This is a freebie, this video. Um, and so, you just have to wait for them because that's the whole point of you being free as a bee is that you're doing what you want freely. And, if those bits of that web on the outside ask you for help, then yeah, come to them. Or every now and then go near to them and show off and be yourself and have fun. So, um, it's nice out here. Nice out here. And then don't do any more than that. Don't do any more than that. Just and don't rub it in. And if I've done anything like that, then I'm sorry, and I don't mind if anybody says to me, "Michael, you're just annoying us now." All right. I think I've got that impression from various people in the church, and I haven't. This realization has come to me today. I've been up to now thinking I must hammer away at the central parts of the web, and actually I can't help these people. I can only be there for the people on the outer parts of the web and for myself, you know. And the more that happens, the more outer parts of that web, the Opus Dei web come away, then the more hope the people in the center have. But you can't help the people in the center at the beginning. You can't help the Pope. The Pope's completely hogtied. He's absolutely, utterly, utterly immobilized by Opus Dei. Completely. You try and get the Pope out the center of the web, okay? It's not going to happen because the web is designed to be the web of Opus Dei is designed to be completely integral with the center, okay? So the one goes down, they all goes down, okay? You can't bring it down. You can't bring Opus Dei down without bringing the church down, and then vice versa. And that's how Opus Dei operate, is that they ensure that attacks on Opus Dei are attacks on the church as well. So you have to think about it as one and the same thing until such time as that outer layers of Opus Dei are so frayed and getting smaller and smaller. You've got more free people of Opus Dei around, okay, and then um, the church is small. Opus Dei, the web is getting smaller, okay. So really, I'm just developing this as I speak. Really, what this says to me really is that our job is to be around. If we want to help the church, if we want to get the Pope, we need to go through. We need to focus first on being around for the people in Opus Dei, especially those who are a bit more free, a bit more real, a bit more classy, and have got a sense of who they are, creativity, passion. You know, um, not to be scheming about it. You know, and obviously at a certain point, dealing with anybody who's trapped in a web or as part of a web is exhausting, and you can't fake it. Okay, so um, so so maybe what I'm getting to, and this is I'm still developing this idea, is somehow to have as part of my life the idea of being around the edges of the people of Opus Dei, the freer people, but at the same time doing what I want to do as a bee as well, and letting God guide me step by step to see at any moment. Okay, so that's how I see it. Don't ask the church to structure to help because they're the last people that can be helped, and that only we can help them from the outside. Okay, we can't do anything, and I'm sorry that's such a negative thing, but that is how Opus Dei is. It's a web that's completely, utterly immobilized the church. We can see that in everything it does. We can see that in the delays and the delays. I've talked about the safeguarding void. That safeguarding void is such a nightmare for the church. Such a nightmare, but it's impossible to solve. So, um, so yeah, so that's my realization for today after all my crazy stuff. Okay. And I pray for you all and thank you for listening.